Hey guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be continuing on balancing chemical equations, and we're just going to jump right in. So if you have any questions, write them down in the comments, and I hope this is helpful. So first we start off with our elements. So we have silver, we have nitrogen, we have oxygen, and we have copper. These are both the elements that are in the reactants and the product side. So we can just write them down. So we have Ag, we have N, we have O, and we have Cu. Okay, now we need to count how many of each of these elements we have on both sides. So we have one Ag here, we have one nitrogen, we have 3 oxygen, and we have 1 Cu. Then here on the product side, we have 1 Cu, we have 2 nitrogen actually, because we're multiplying, we have to distribute the subscript of 2 to whatever is inside here. So we actually end up having 2 nitrogen, and if we do 3 times 2, we have 6 oxygen. And then we have 1 Ag. Now we can write this down. So we have 1 Ag, we have 1 N, we have 3 O, and we have 1 Cu for the reactant side. Then the product side, we have 1 Ag, we have 2 nitrogen, we have 6 oxygen, and we have 1 Cu. So now we can start the balancing. So from what we're seeing right now, Ag and Ag on both sides are balanced. So we can leave them alone for now. Now the nitrogen are not balanced. We have 1 nitrogen on the reactant side and 2 nitrogen on the product side, meaning we need to find a way to balance them. So if I were to multiply nitrogen on the reactant side, this 1 nitrogen times 2, we would get 2, which would then balance out these 2 nitrogens, right? So we put this coefficient of 2 right here on the outside, because that way now it's being distributed to nitrogen. However, it's also being distributed to the other things here, such as Ag and O. A single Ag is now being multiplied by 2 because of the coefficient. So now there's 2 Ag, and now the coefficient of 2 is being multiplied by the 3 oxygen, so now we have 6 oxygen. So we write that down. So now, as we can see, the 2 oxygen here are balanced. However, the Ag isn't, so we still have to do something about it. So what we can do is we can multiply 2 on the product side, and now we'll have 2, which would then make them balanced. So we need to incorporate this coefficient on this side. So now we have 2 Ag, which is being distributed, right? So now we have Ag, N, and O that are balanced, and Cu is also balanced. Because the Cu's are already balanced, we can just multiply them by 1 or use a coefficient of 1 because it's the same thing. Right, so then we just put that there, 1 Cu and 1 Cu. And there we go. Now we have a balanced equation because, once again, we have 2 Ags. After the coefficient of 2 is distributed, we have 2 N's because the 2 was distributed, and we have 6 O's because it was distributed, and we have our single Cu. Then on the product side, the subscript of 2 was being distributed on the inside, so we had 6 oxygen, we had 2 nitrogen, and we still had 1 Cu. And then after, with the coefficient of 2, we were able to get 2 Ags, which matched on both sides, meaning that this equation does follow the law of conservation of mass because the atoms are rearranged, there is no matter being created or destroyed, so that would be your final answer.